Welcome once again. I think we'll continue with C++. I think in the previous session we have already seen control structures in the form of simple if else and nested if else. Now let's see what is new here. I think we'll continue with if else only, but this time we are having a else if ladder. Okay, when there are multi-part decisions involved, we can use if one another way. We have a chain of ifs and each else is associated with if statement. For example, now I think in the previous case we have seen what is the drawback of if. Only if the condition is true, then only it will get executed. What is the drawback of if else? I think we are having possibly only two conditions can be satisfied, whether it is true or false. But suppose if there are multiple conditions, for example, if first condition is true, it will get executed. But if the first condition is not true, then it will go to the second condition. If the second condition is true, it will execute. If the second condition is also not true, then we can go with else if third condition. If third condition is not true, like this we can have n condition, and if any one of the statements are not true, or if any of one of the conditions are not true, then by default else has to be there. With if, by default else has to be there when you are using the else if statements, and that will be your default statement. After that you can have some other statements like statement X. Now in order to understand this, first we will see the flow chart and then we will see the example. So this is our flow chart here. Okay, so if this condition is true, if the first condition is true, execute the first statement, and then you can go out, and that means you can go out of this and you can execute the statement X and then the next statement. But suppose if that condition is false, then you have to go to the second condition. If second condition is true, you can just come here, you can execute the statement X and then you can be out. Okay, then I think this, I hope you understood. If second condition is false, then it will go to the third condition. If third condition is true, you have to execute this. If again this condition is false, like this it will check all the n conditions, and finally if that is also false, then it will go to the else condition. So I hope you understood this, okay, with a diagram of this. Okay, now let's take an example. I think selection statements if else. Okay, several if structures can be concatenated with intention of checking the range of the values. Like here, whether they want to check whether the number is greater than 0. Suppose if x value is, I'll just write here the value. Suppose x value is 2. I think here you can see that 2 is greater than 0. That's why it will just print x is positive and all the statements will not be executed. Okay. Next time, suppose if the value is -2. So what happens here? It will check whether x is less than 0. Yes. So this is false because -2 cannot be greater than 0. Then it will check this. -2 is less than 0. Yes. So it will just print x is negative. This will not get executed. But suppose in the last case, suppose x is 0. So what will happen, you know? X is greater than 0, not possible. So this statement will not get executed. 0 is less than 0, not possible. But here can you see x is 0? Yes. So the third statement will get executed. So I think this prints whether x is positive, negative or 0 by concatenating two if else structures. Okay, again it would have been seen to execute more than a single statement per cases. Yeah, we can also put blocks like this. Okay, suppose if there are more than two statements, then you can put braces. Okay, I hope you got this, you understand this, what I just mean to say. So here all the else if statements are there. Okay, now there is one more statement, one more example. If percentage is greater than 79, so you will grade honors. But suppose if your percentage is not greater than 79, okay, we will take some example. Like, I think if the percentage is 80, so what will happen? It will just print honors. Okay, but suppose if the percentage is not greater than and it will not print anything else. But suppose if the percentage is not 80, suppose if it is 70, so what will happen? It will check this condition. 70 is greater than 79, not possible, so honors will not come. Then it will check this condition. Percentage is greater than 70 is greater than 59, yes. So in this case, I think second statement will get executed. Okay, but suppose if we take the value as 50, so what will happen? It will check this condition, first condition. The first condition is not satisfied, then it will check the second condition, because 50 is greater than 59, that is also not possible. And finally it will check 50 is greater than 49, then it will go and go with the third statement, that is second division. Okay, and suppose if the value is 48, so what will happen? You know, it will be fail, because 48 is greater than 79, not possible, so this will not get executed. Then 48 is greater than 59, not possible. 48 is greater than 49, not possible. So finally what will happen? You know, the fail statement will come. So I think it depends upon your values, and I think this can be applied for all the statements, all the students whose percentage are getting whatever you scored the marks. So I hope you got this. This is also known as else if, else if, else. If, else if, else if, else. So these statements are very important. If, then we are having else if, else if, else. Okay. Now let's go. I think better than if, else, else if, ladder and all, I think there is one statement known as switch. Okay, if, else, if, else sometimes may create confusions to the reader. C++ has built-in multi-way decision statement known as switch. So switch is very good statement. It also called as multiple branch selection statement. So remember that switch is also known as multiple branch statements, multiple branch selection statement. Now let's see how switch is different from other if, else and all, and how it is convenient. Okay, so I think let's take the example, like or you can say syntax. Switch, one expression will be there. Okay, so there will be many cases. Case value 1, then it will execute the first block, then break. Case value 2, then it will execute the second block. Like this you can have n number of cases, and finally you have to have a default statement. So default and then the break. So you can see, and after that you can after switch block is over, you can use your statements. Now I'll give you one example, that time it will be more clear. Now before that we are having the flowchart. Switch expression, first condition block, and then it will come out. Second condition block, so it will just matches, it will trying to find a perfect match. If there is a perfect match, then it will execute that part. Okay, don't worry, when I'll show you the example, that time it will be more clear. Okay, now suppose, now again I will just warning you that this program is incomplete. Now switch day. Now day is a variable, its value can be anything. Now let me explain you the program first. Case 1 Monday, case 2 Tuesday. I think I'm just talking about days of the week. Okay, 7 is Sunday. Okay, and suppose default value, if the user don't enter anything, because it depends upon the user what value it will enter. Suppose if the user don't enter the values between 1 to 7, then this statement will get printed. Okay, what we'll do, we'll take an example. Suppose if the day is 5, so what will happen? You know, the value of day is what? 5. So it will check the first case, 1 is equal to 5, no. 2 is equal to 5, no. 3 is equal to 5, no. 4 is equal to 5, no. 5 is equal to 5, yes, and it will print Friday. What is the use of this break? Now break statement means it will just come out of this block. Actually, if we don't write break, what will happen, you know? Suppose if we don't write break, then suppose if your value is 5 and if you don't write break anywhere, so Friday, after Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and this statement will got, all the statements will get printed. So be careful that you have to use a break statement. Break statement will just bring the control back. Okay, but suppose what happens if you have some other value. Okay, for example, if your value is 7, so what will happen, you know? I think here we will take the value as 7. So it will check all the 7 conditions, like 1 is equal to 7, 2 is equal to 7, no, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Finally it will have this and it will just print Sunday. Okay, now we will also change. Now let's take the value as something else, like if the user enters the value as 9. Okay, so what will happen? It will check all the condition. 1 is equal to 9, 2 is equal to 9, 3 is equal to 9, 4 is equal to 9, 5 is equal to 9, 6 is equal to 9, 7 is equal to 9, no. Then finally it will come to the default statement and it will just print the statement for the user, like please enter the numbers between 1 to 7 only, and user will come to know that I have to enter only values between 1 to 7. So I hope you got it. But very important thing to remember is default has to be the last case. Okay, suppose if default comes here, let's take an example. If the default comes to the 4th position, okay, and suppose if you enter the value known as 5, okay, so what will happen, you know? It will check 1 is equal to 5, no. 2 is equal to 5, no. 3 is equal to 5, no. And default is here. So what will happen? It will just print enter the values between 1 to 7. Remember that, and you already know that this output is wrong because the value should be Friday, but it will not print Friday. Remember that if you misplace default, so default has to be the last statement of your switch. If you write in between anywhere, like I just now I showed you that you cannot write a default statement here. If by mistakenly if you write the default statement here, what will happen, you know? It will just print that statement. So default has to be the last statement. I think this switch is better than this. Okay, switch is better than all this, and especially better than this. Okay, in the previous cases I think there are many possibilities and all, whether to do this. I think here you can see it is straightforward. This case, like this. Suppose if I want to go with what do you call it, months of the year, so I will write 12 cases and the 13th one will be the default case, and you will easily understand this program. Okay, so I think I hope you understood switch statement. Switch statement is better when you are having more conditions or more possibilities. Okay, I think it is better than if else and all. So I hope you understood. Now this finishes your branching group of statements or group of instructions. Okay, now when we'll meet next time, I think we'll be completing the loop. So I hope you understood. Okay, we'll meet in the next session. Thank you.